Hello, this is Matthew Robert Payne, and this is a teaching called Keep My Commands. When Jesus had finished the Last Supper, and in between when he finished the Last Supper and was taken to be crucified, Jesus had some things to say. He said one thing 4 times in the Gospel of John, in John 14 and John 15. In John 14 verse 15, "If you love me, keep my commandments," Jesus said. In John 14:21, 6 verses later, "He who has my commandments and keeps them, it is he who loves me, and he who loves me will be loved by my Father, and I will love him and manifest myself to him." Judas Iscariot said to him, "Lord, how is it that you will manifest yourself to him and to the world?" Jesus answered and said to him, "If anyone loves me, he will keep my word, and my Father will love him, and will come to him and make our home with him. And he who does not love me does not keep my word, and the word which you hear is not mine, but the Father's who sent me." And then later on in John 15, verse 10, it says, "If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, and as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love." So Jesus has said 4 times there, "If you love me, keep my commandments." In John 14, it ties it into prayer. John 14:14 says, "If you ask anything in my name, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments." And over in John 15, it also says that those who abide in my words will also have what they ask for done for them. In John 14:21 and John 14 John 14:21, Jesus says he will manifest himself to those who obey his commands. In John 14:23, it says Jesus and the Father will come and make a home with the person who obeys his commandments. So I think when Jesus is saying that he'll manifest himself to you, and when he says him and his Father will come and make their home with the person who obeys, I think it's more than the Holy Spirit. I think Jesus could quite clearly say the Holy Spirit will come and make his home with the believer. But I feel Jesus, when he's saying he will manifest himself to you, I feel that Jesus is talking about himself appearing in visions or appearing in the flesh to a person. And when he says the Father and himself will come and make a home with the person, I believe he's talking about himself and the Father. And I have met Jesus on earth hundreds of times in visions, and I've met the Father on earth, where both Jesus and the Father have come to visit me. So I think that it's quite possible for you to meet Jesus on earth. I think it's quite reasonable to say that keeping the commandments of Jesus is an open door for people. Some people ask me, how do I have visions? How do I see Jesus, and what made it possible? And I point them to the commands of Jesus. You can look up the 50 commands of Jesus. You can type in into your Google the 50 FIFTY commands of Jesus, and you'll see that there's an EZINE article written by myself about the commands of Jesus. I think the commands of Jesus are very important. In one way, Jesus says to love the Father with all your heart, mind, and spirit, and to love your neighbour as yourself. But sometimes it's more beneficial for you to get a thorough description of what loving your neighbour looks like. And the 50 commands of Jesus outlines those ways that you can love your fellow man and love God. So I would encourage you to look up the 50 commands of Jesus. In the bottom in the video, in information about the video, I'll put a link to the article with the 50 commands of Jesus to make it easy. My life was transformed when I started to obey the 50 commands of Jesus, and my life became a whole lot richer and better suited to this life on earth. I really encourage you to look up the commands of Jesus, to print them out and put them on your fridge, and make every effort to start to obey them. I really encourage you to do that. It's something I mention in many of my books. You can look up my books under Matthew Robert Payne on Amazon and find that I have over 50 books that you can read. You may not know that. I encourage you to reflect on this video, to think about it, to look up the 50 commands of Jesus, and I encourage you to make a comment and give me feedback on what you think of this video. God bless.